there, this is Erica DELSIGNORE. I am founder of Daily Lead Campaign. We're a social media and video marketing company where we help you get leads through video marketing and social media advertising. And you are watching my live interview series called Great Minds, Great Marketing, where I bring to you interesting entrepreneurs from all walks of life from around the world who have incredible stories. They're going to talk about their marketing efforts and how they can grow their business. And we're going to learn a lot today from someone who has a very interesting business, Nadine Piat. I met Nadine on a cruise that I went on recently with a bunch of marketers. I know you've heard this before if you've been watching any of my interviews. And Nadine was one of the most popular people, I think, on the cruise. I always saw her with a crowd of people. We didn't get to talk for too long, but I knew that I wanted to interview her because she has a really cool topic that she teaches on, and that is dating. And so, Nadine, I cannot wait to hear how you even got into this type of business. Welcome to the show. We really appreciate you taking the time all the way from Australia and in a completely different time zone to do this interview today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me here, and I can't wait to just get to know a bit more about your business as well during this, because I have some questions for you too. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So you are a dating coach, a real bona fide dating coach. I mean, we've only seen people like you in the movies, or I have, where you really work with people on themselves to make them more marketable, so to speak, and hopefully I'm not saying this completely wrong, to make themselves more marketable and also make them open to accepting the right relationship when it comes along. Would you say that that's...
Yeah, look, when I first started, I mean, I didn't start off in the dating relationship sort of love area. I started off in more the stress-related behaviours. So I used to work for a retreat that would work with mental health and addiction, and so I kind of came from this area of which had a lot to do with self-worth and people understanding how we rate ourselves and so forth internally and our perception of ourselves, which can cause a lot of grief and angst within ourselves. So that's kind of where I started, and then I started getting into what's a healthy relationship, what's healthy communication, how can you have really deeply intimate, loving relationships. And so and it just kind of, I ended up writing a book sort of for myself, really, like I really just want to get this out. And then it just turned into me becoming a relationship dating coach for women. So, yeah, so it's kind of like an unusual journey of how I got there.
So you used your own personal experience of having a breakup and going through that and starting a new life.
Well, I just sort of felt that what I was seeing everywhere was that most people don't have the basic foundations and the basic skills to have a healthy, loving, intimate relationship. It doesn't mean that relationships are smooth sailing 24/7. Things arise, but when you have the skills, when you aren't battling with your ego all the time, or you're not power playing, or some people are very submissive, they don't speak up and ask what they want. There's a whole range of things that make for a difficult and unsatisfactory relationship. So when we have these skills, when we understand about our worth and our value, we understand how to communicate differently with others, we can have better relationships. And a lot of people don't have those skills. We're not taught them. And so that's what I'm passionate about. So really I'm kind of personal development based more than just straight dating and relationship.
That's fantastic. So you were really looking at stress as a whole, and then you were able to see that, hey, one of the big areas of stress is when people go through that relationship change. And so what are some of the, and we are going to get into the marketing speak, because I know that you have a lot going on with that. But what are some of the basic foundations that people need when it comes to dating and relationships?
Well, I think it's transferable to all relationships. I've got business partners. I have obviously family, friends. Like every relationship needs these solid foundations, and and then particularly in an intimate romantic relationship. So the fundamentals for me, well, first of all, is if you haven't worked on your stuff at all, it's going to show up in your relationships. And no one finds working on their stuff sexy. You know, people just want to experience love. They want to be in love. They want to be loved, but they don't necessarily know how to love. You know, they don't even love themselves most of the time. So
That's how it starts, right?
yeah, and when I was little, I remember my mum saying, or people saying, oh, you know, you've got to love yourself first. You know, if you really want to be happy in life, you think, oh yeah, you know, you get it as a concept. You don't necessarily understand it to what it actually really means. Like, how do you love yourself when the girl at school's paying you out, or how do you love yourself when the guy that you have a crush on doesn't like you? You know, so how do you love yourself when you're not the smartest girl in the room, when academia is valued in your environment, whatever it is? Or how do you value yourself when you're not creative, when everyone else, like, it doesn't matter. Every environment creates a different set of values and what you think you should have and be in order to be successful. So it doesn't matter whether you come from an arty family. Anyway, so basically, if I go into all of that, it will take forever, but it is about learning your worth and value. That's like the number one, and loving yourself and knowing how to treat yourself with loving kindness in all situations. But it's also vulnerability. So vulnerability and humility are kind of mixed together. Like, if you don't have humility to say, hey, you know, I've stuffed up, or hey, I contributed to that, and I really need to look at that, and have the vulnerability to do that, a relationship is never going to actually heal and grow and develop. It just can't, because then the ego stuff is always in play, and the power playing and the need for control comes into play, where no one wins, and it ends up just being people constantly at loggerheads and not wanting to work together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you can't admit your own mistakes, and no one's going to really be able to go forward in a relationship with you. That's amazing. And I agree with you. I think a lot of people, it really starts with loving yourself, and then moving forward in those relationships, because if you don't love yourself, right, then people aren't going to love you first, unless it's your mother or something, possibly. But
that's right. Loving yourself is it comes up in different ways. Sometimes it's saying yes, and sometimes it's saying no. Sometimes it's tough love, sometimes it's gentle love. You know, like, loving yourself, you've got it. Like, when you're really in tune with yourself, you know what you need, and you know what you need to do in order to feel more connected to yourself and connected to others and more at peace. Like, I think that when you really understand the whole self-love, self-worth, self-value kind of model, then no matter what's happening in your life, you feel a sense of inner peace. Like, you know you're going to be okay, even though times are tough, or you know, you just have that resilience within yourself.
Absolutely. Now, you've built this business over how many years?
I started coaching about 9 years ago, though the online side of things was about 4 years ago.
So one of the questions I like to ask people are, you know, in your business, I know that you've been around for almost 10 years now. You know, people have had ups and downs. Is there anything that you might be able to share with the audience that you've learned from? Maybe a mistake that you were able to correct, or maybe it was a mistake that, or a lesson learned, and you had to move forward and kind of leave it behind.
Which one? So when I first started, I was just doing straight coaching and running workshops. So I wasn't even in the internet game at all. And the reason why I got into sort of the business that I'm in is that I actually was really quite sick about 12, 15 years ago, probably longer period before that. And then I could no longer really work in a corporate environment, in a typical working environment. Not to say that I don't work more than corporate hours at times, but anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so, but I have a lot of flexibility, and particularly in the early stages of the online world, I was working really crazy hours, but nowhere near as much anymore. But anyway, so I kind of like diversifying from being a coach to wanting to become an internet marketer and wanting to create online programs. I just didn't really know what I was doing, and I was really fumbling. And probably at the time there were people like yourself and, you know, people teaching people how to get their business off the ground, how to create an online business, but I didn't really know much about it. So I was very lucky that I met someone who actually did know a lot about it, and we did a joint venture together at the time. But I think that I have a habit in my life of buying all the tools and tricks and then not knowing how to use them and then them becoming dust collectors in my life. And that's kind of like saying, oh, I'm going to learn how to cycle, but get the best cycling gear, but get the cutest outfits, and of course I'd be a great cycler, and I'd be awesome at it. But I remember when I learned to cycle, I used to get these incredible, just my body just didn't agree with intense cycling, so all my stuff just became dust collectors, So that's what I was doing in business for a while, get the best stuff. And so I kind of learned in my life that don't always spend a lot of money all the time, like work out ways to do things more effectively, and don't spend money on stuff you don't know it's going to work sometimes. So I think that there's kind of this thing where you can just spend so much money on tools and tricks and things like that and programs and stuff that you just sometimes got to really consolidate, like, what do I need and what's going to get me to where I go, and ask a lot of questions and talk to some people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, we're both going to conferences all the time. There's something called shiny object syndrome, where you hear a speaker and you think, wow, that sounds fantastic, and I'd love to make millions too, and then you buy it, and then you buy the next thing, and I'm lucky I'm one of those implementers, but there definitely were things that I tried that I work on it, and then this particular thing's a little complicated, and I'm going to need to actually buy extra help and consulting to get it going, and so it's always a struggle to figure out, like, what's going to be the easiest thing to implement and most effective. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I'm one of a few people that did that with Infusionsoft. And I know I should go back and give it another shot, but I wanted to be a user, not a donor. And people that have had it for years, like my husband, and not didn't use it, so he wasted $4,000. So so absolutely, I agree with that. It's definitely difficult.
Yeah. But there's so many things. I mean, there's money you can spend on so many, whether it's a program, whether it's a coach to help you, whether it's copywriting, because there's so many elements that you need to get your business up and running and a business to flow. And so it's sometimes hard to work it out, but you do work it out, and sometimes spending money is part of making money and learning and growing. And I've recently done that in different ways, but so there's a multitude of other things. Yeah.
So when you're looking at it, I mean, there are people that are just getting started, or there are people out there that might be watching right now that really want to restart their business. It's not always going to be on the up. Sometimes it's on the down, and they need to start up again. You've been using a lot of different marketing strategies. What are some of the combinations of strategies you've used that have really helped you get some results fast? Or even not fast, but at least get results and be worth the time and the effort and the money that you put into it?
Gosh, I could definitely go a couple of angles here. So when I first started, I was very much into affiliate marketing. People promote me, I'd promote them. And that is still a big part of my business at the moment. Though I felt that my market was changing. In the industry, there's also a lot of internet marketers who aren't necessarily coaches or aren't necessarily dating relationship coaches legitimately, and they go like a bull at a gate in the industry, and then they go off to the next niche. And there's a little bit of that going on in my niche as well, where and I feel like, is that the contributing factor for some of that, our niche kind of not being as strong as it used to be? I mean, I think there's still elements of my niche that are very strong, but I think that I've had to sort of think, okay, well, if affiliates weren't an option for me, like, how can I develop my business in a way that I'm in control of my business more? And with affiliates, absolutely, like, it's all about conversions and which is that's business. You've got to create a product that sells, and the marketing's got to be right. But I also wanted to have some control, so I've diversified and did some Facebook ads and spent a lot of money doing that, and it was kind of going really well. And then things happened where I had my account shut down, and all these things happen where you go, oh, okay, well, now I'm back to square one.
What got shut down? Oh, your account got shut down. Okay.
Yeah, just the ad accounts. Why? I don't know. Like, I'm a legitimate coach. I don't know, something in the marketing. They never actually really told us. So we had a second account within that ad account, and then that one we had issues with as well. So I've had this sort of massive journey myself where I've got colleagues who haven't had any issues, and they're like absolutely, they're printing money almost at the moment. So it's kind of like, well, and actually what I'm doing now is actually getting into the whole YouTube marketing side of things more than ever before, which is, I know, your forte.
YouTube and LinkedIn advertising at the moment, and yeah, it's nice to do something different than Facebook. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, so that's interesting. You know what? And that happens in all those social media. When you don't own the platform, you can't always control what they do. I personally had my own account shut down on LinkedIn, and I've been an expert for 4 years. I've run, I don't know, 100 different campaigns out there for other clients, and they just kept changing the rules, and it started shutting you down for no reason. Maybe one or two people complained. Well, I have over 4,000 connections on LinkedIn. So, but one of the letters I sent out, because I only really send my letters out like every couple times a year to that particular, because they are so fussy. So I don't want anyone saying that I'm spamming. But my letter that I sent out to my own connections had pricing and dates on events that I had coming up. And so people reported it. So I got shut down. And of course, the second you complain, they will turn you back on, if you're mean like I am. And I was like, look, I paid you all this money to build up my network, and now you're saying I can't send an email to my network. That's crazy. So the next email I sent out was just a tip. There was no sales in it at all, and it was just like, oh, and hey, by the way, if you want more tips like this, come to a webinar or get my free book or whatever. But yeah, you just don't know with some of these social media platforms, what can happen. I haven't had a problem since, but it is devastating when something is working so well and it stops.
Yeah, because you can invest a lot of money. Like when I started, I was quite nervous about doing the whole Facebook side of things, and I had a consultant, so it was an expensive episode for me and the ad spend, and we actually got our ROI up to a really amazing level and then shut down. We did it a second time, shut down. Third time, we just couldn't get it back to what it was, and I just thought I can't invest anymore. But that's so fine. It's all part of how the business, and you've got to try different things. And I'm not saying I'm never going to do it again. It's just that right now I've chosen not to do that. But I'm looking at doing the YouTube ads instead, and probably deciding to grow my organic channel. One of the most challenging things in this kind of business is there are a lot of ways to build your business, so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I love having this interview series, because I get to learn every time. There are times where I'm here and I'm writing stuff down because I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize you could do this yet, and so I'm benefiting from the knowledge of the people I'm interviewing just as much as my audience is. So that's really that. So what have you found besides Facebook in 9 years?
So, well, when I was actually doing the coaching side of things, so the internet side, they're more online, it's only been the last 4 or 5 years, but earlier on I used to write a column for so more kind of going back to like in a physical magazine. So I used to write a regular column, and I used to get a lot of clients through that. But my business model now isn't about coaching clients so much. It's more about my programs and maybe doing high-end group coaching stuff, but doing one-on-one coaching, yes, occasionally I'll take on a client, but it's not my main business anymore. So I kind of moved away from that to then get into the online side of things, so writing my programs, creating programs, because largely I was a content creator to begin with, and my previous business partner, Cindy, was more the back end, she was the one putting everything together. And then over time, I learned how to do that as well. So her and I are no longer business partners, but still great friends, but just now I sort of just do pretty much everything and have our support staff help me do stuff.
I wanted to say thank you so much, Nadine, for coming on the show. You have just given us a wealth of knowledge and been so open about, what to really look out for with marketing and, how really, I think one of the lessons that we're taking away is on the marketing side is not to just do one thing, because we both made that mistake with social media. We just did one thing and then it went away. And I lost a whole business last year when that happened, because I was providing this service to people. So it's just as devastating when you lose all the leads and the income that are coming in from that. So that's the takeaway on the business side. And on the love side and the relationship side, I think they really need to go to your website to find out more about how they can learn to open up and learn how to work on themselves first, and live the life that they want to live and have the relationships that they want to have. Because it's hard work in the beginning, but it's well worth it in the end. And you want to overcome those barriers that keep getting in the way, and you're not going to do it if you don't actually learn how to get rid of them once and for all. And Nadine is fantastic at helping out with that. So if you or someone you know needs help in this area, I know there's a lot of lonely people out there and people that would like some help in this area, definitely go to Nadine's website, which I just mentioned, and it's a link on the Facebook Live post that we have right now. So I will look forward to seeing everybody. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. And this has been Erica DELSIGNORE, Great Minds, Great Marketing, and we are going to bring another fantastic interview to you very soon. And Nadine, I'm going to email you in a second, okay? All right, thank you so much for coming on. All right, bye now.
Thank you for having me.